Hi, my name is Jairo Funez, an assistant professor at Texas Tech University. My research revolves around decolonial theory, in particular, how it manifests in curriculum or knowledge systems, or the exclusion of indigenous knowledges or knowledge from the global South. And that's one of the reasons I was hired at Texas Tech. Coincidentally, that same sort of commitment to other forms of knowing, perhaps more radical ways of engaging or interrogating the world, was what led me to being suspended. The reason for my suspension was apparently Title VI, based on my social media posts where I was critiquing the state of Israel and its genocidal campaign in Gaza. Interestingly enough, in Texas, not only the university admin, but the issue stems from a far right media outlet, Texas Scorecard, which was founded by one of the richest figures here in tech, Tim Dunn, and who's also supporting many of the initiatives trying to restructure education curriculum, dictating what can or cannot be taught in schools, also stripping away the protections for tenure. He's doing this through the support of different politicians, donations, and so on and so forth. And I later found out that Tim Dunn is an alumnus of Texas Tech, and I assume is also a donor. I cannot state that for a fact. But this far right media outlet wrote a hit piece and shared that with university admin. And that's what led to my suspension. But when the dean had a conversation with me based on this hit piece accusing my social media posts of anti-Semitism, the dean asked me not to share this publication. And I said I didn't want to amplify this far right media outlet anyway. Now, I wasn't intending to share it on social media, but I did vaguely address some of the concerns that I had based on FOIA requests from the Texas Scorecard, this far right media outlet. And also, that there was this hit piece written about me, never mentioned necessarily the Texas Scorecard in this regard. The dean called me, I think maybe in the afternoon that same day, and said, I thought you weren't going to share this piece. And I said I didn't. He asked me to take down my social media post. From my conversations with him, I could tell that someone else had reached out to him. Well, it was clear that someone said, "Hey, approach him to see if he'll comply, and he'll back down in a way." And I said, no matter the consequences from not complying, I'm not going to take down the post. My commitments to Palestine, my ethical and political commitments, are far greater than the fears that are trying to be imposed here. And so this is the conversation 10 days later, without any other conversation with admin regarding my social media activity or regarding the article publication. I received an email and I was suspended without an official complaint of anyone based on Title VI, which is surprising because there wasn't an official complaint to the Office of Equal Opportunity. They were told to initiate this investigation, which led to my suspensions. I was suspended for 40 days, but within those 40 days, there was overwhelming support outside, not so much from my institution or department, with the exception of a couple colleagues, but thousands of scholars around the world wrote letters. The former president of the American Historical Association, also a Jewish scholar, wrote the president and made it clear that nothing that I've said was anti-Semitic. So many of these letters sort of created this pressure, of course, alongside many other organizations, AAUP being one of them. Students for Justice for Palestine, a group here, organized a protest, and that was also another sort of pressure that was taken or exerted against the university admin's decision to suspend me. One of the things that I want people to take away from this experience is that it's not necessarily an individual experience, that this is a concerted effort with broader implications to silence and to create a culture of fear, which has had a chilling effect, as we've seen since last year. Not only is student activist work, for instance, not as great as it was last year, but it is because of the overwhelming repression that we've seen. Another take that I want people to get is that they must continue to organize within and beyond academic spaces, whether it's establishing chapters, whether it's getting involved with AAUP, or whether it's pressuring their academic organizations to write statements, even if that's just the minimum sort of level of solidarity that they can take at this moment. But we've seen that the pressure has been working. AAUP being one of the organizations that has been historically reluctant to take a stance against or in favor of BDS, has recently even organized seminars, webinars on genocide, scholasticide. So we're seeing that pressure does work. And so we must continue doing that in the years to come. What people should be doing right now is not only creating these networks and organizations, but also just taking an unshakable stance. I think it's an unwavering stance in support of the liberation of Palestine, no matter the consequences. I think many of us have personally experienced these consequences, and others have succumbed to the pressures and have lost much respect. I think it's far worse to succumb to these pressures, and we've known this with scholars that we admire. We must support the liberation of Palestine, no matter what consequences are in store for us.